Very dear students and my colleagues and my viewers all over the world, today I'm recording a video lecture on A Scarlet Letter, the novel, the American novel, which has become very famous. Over time, it has gained a lot of reputation with respect to feminism, with respect to the Puritanism, or we can say American Puritanism, and the irony of the situation as well, and the 20th century criticism on such values which make the life of the people very hard, very difficult. All these things it has combined together. Before we start with the reading of the novel, we need to have three, four things in our mind that what are the important and significant points that we must take into account. Love laws, for example, first of all, which love laws are permissible, which are not, and how much society is on its own guards in order to protect these laws, and how some individual would make a mistake, and as a result, suffering would come. Making of mistakes and the sufferings, when the sufferings are because of the circumstances which are not one's own making, make this novel a tragedy as well. But then the protection of these values by the Puritan laws at that time, that is also going to be one of the important themes in this novel. Besides that, the establishment of USA and the establishment of various institutions at that time, and the kind of officership, kind of punishments, the kind of rule and the constitution which was working at that time when the novel goes to talk about the age or the century. This goes to reflect through this novel as well. So in this way, three, four, five things may be kept in mind. We should also take into account the plight of a common man when he falls into the trap of the religious trappings, and in the same way, the plight of a religious man when he is judged on the common basis of the human beings and their values. Besides that, we should also know the child's psychology and the kind of fault of possibly we have. If we think that the child is at fault, that we are wrong definitely, because the child has got no role to play in that. And what are our ways of dealing with such situation? That is also one of the points that should be kept in mind. And besides that, the religious norms are really questionable here. That a child is born out of a relationship, and that relationship needs to have a father. And on the other hand, the Christianity would say that Father, God is the Father of everyone. Why is the need of all that? These things are really very important to be talked about in these lessons. So let's have a start with the second part of this novel. I have ignored the first part because it is just an introduction, but this is really the characters are introduced, the theme and conflict are introduced in the second part. So that is why, for the students of literature, I think that the second part should be started. They can read on their own the first part of the novel. The second part, as I'm going to indicate, is here you see the marketplace. The marketplace is a significant title. It reflects a similar kind of importance as is the importance of marketplace in Chinua Achebe's novel. That lots of things revolve around that. So here also, in this novel too, marketplace is important. Not because it's just a marketplace, but also because it is the place where people gather, where they look at each other, see and find the situations and conditions of people. And besides that, the kind of prison house, the church, or the symbols of the authority of the state are also present here. So that is why marketplace is going to be very important. And besides that, market is a place, thinking in the third space term, as we have given by Soja, we can say that a market is a place just meant to sell and buy the things. It is a geographical place, but people make relationships there. Same is the case here with this marketplace, that here someone's reputation dies, someone's character is snatched, someone's investigation come forward in order to prove his point, and someone is there to force the point of view on the people that he is all powerful, and as he's respected and honored by the people. So that is why the power is there. So in this way, marketplace novels section title is really very significant in this regard as well. That some of the people would have to prepare themselves to live in the third space, not living genuinely in the first place. So in that way, this title is going to be very important. Let me read some of the passages to you when we begin with this. For example, marketplace. I have not chosen the first passage, second passage, but I would like you people to think about the name Mr. Sibbins, which is mentioned with respect to the witches And in that age, the Puritan age, American Puritan age, demanded that witches should be burnt out. And in that way, the reference comes to the women who are involved in this kind of activity. They are severely punished. So the breaking of the law, maybe the religious law, maybe the civil or political law, maybe the love law, even if a woman breaks, there is a harsh punishment to be given to her by that magistrate. Burning alive is a non-human activity. Even this was going on at that time. So that is why I want you people to have an eye, to have this thing in your mind when you read the character that I'm going to discuss with you. The very first thing that I would like to start with is the good wives. No, this is very tricky to have a judgment who is a good wife and is not good wife. Definitely, apparently, the person who obeys the norms of the society, the person who follows the religious norms of the society, and person who remains at the fixed place and the limitations and the boundaries which are allotted to a wife, and that person at that time may be thought a good wife. No, there is no mention of the rights of the women. There's no mention of the finances at all, and there is no mention of the earning of by the woman, the education of the women. Nothing like that has been talked about. Just good wives. Good wives are those who take care of their chastity according to the religion, and take care of their homes, and then take care of their husbandly duties as well. So in this way, ironically speaking, good and bad wife is going to be declared here. So that just by this binary opposition, on the one hand, if we say that good wife is this, then definitely if somebody is not doing these things, that person can be the bad wife as well. And going further, then taking this concept in our mind, Mrs. Hibbins' character, then the concept of the good wife, and let's have a reading of that. This passage in green: the magistrates are God-fearing gentlemen, but merciful over much that's truth. Added third autumn matron. At the very least, they should have put the brand of a hot iron on Hester Prynne's forehead. Madam Hester would have winced at that, I warrant. But she, the naughty baggage, little will she care. Well, they put upon the bodice of her gown, why, look you, she may cover it with a brooch or such like heathenish adornment, and so walk the streets as brave as ever. This paragraph is very significant with respect to the things which are said here. For example, first of all, where the cursor is moving, it is Hester, the name Hester Prynne, that she is going to be the one who is culprit here, who is the one who, is the person, the target and of the ridicule, and target of the punishment, and target of the irony which is being put on her character. Same is the case, again, Madam Hester, the respectable title given to the women, but here, ironically, this title is being given because of the naughty baggage which she is carrying. Now, for the reader, first time, I'm going to indicate here that Hester Prynne has involved in love affair with a man, and she has given birth to a child, and she's not ready to tell the name of the man because she was married first of all, and then her husband didn't follow her for long, long years, and it was reported that the ship in which he was coming, possibly the ship drowned, and possibly he died, and that is why she developed the relationship. Now, later on, it was discovered that the man is alive. So, in that way, this is going to be a very tricky type of story. Hester Prynne is carrying that sin, and she has been punished to have the Scarlet Letter A on her bodice all the time to show her shame and ignominy. But the women, her fellow women, her sister women, are saying that the magistrates have been quite kind. Otherwise, they would have branded her with hot iron. Now, branding with hot iron used to be a savage act in the past, and ultimately, if it existed in the 20th century, it was branding the animals in order to show the ownership of the animals, and the same punishment the woman is declaring that she should have done. And now they say that the soft punishment has been given, that she will be having Scarlet Letter A on her bodice, and she can cover with any kind of adornment, and she would walk the streets in the same way. So they are not satisfied with the kind of punishment she is going to have. They are equally afraid of the skills of the woman who will wear these Scarlet Letter on her chest, and she would decorate with that. So in a way, the woman, Hester Prynne, is shown more skillful, more clever and intelligent as compared to the women who are talking, that she's dexterous enough to, cover her shame also in that way, that she can absorb it. So maybe the mental shame is there, but physically she can bear it, and people are calling it heathenish. And in the same tone, the passage continues, but interposed more softly, a young wife holding a child by the hand, let her cover the mark as she will. The pang of it will be always in her heart. So this is the same point of view, that whether she covers the letter A with some decoration, whether she hides with the dress, it is not that important, because in her heart there is a kind of dislike for her action, as she says, it's a sense of shame for the sin, as the woman says. In the same way, guilt, that pang will continue to be in her mind. So the writer wants to tell us that the punishment is not only going to be apparent physical punishment, but also it's going to be a mental torture through which the woman has to go. And the paragraph continues with the same tone. Where do we talk of marks and brands, whether on the bodice of her gown or the flesh of her forehead, cried another female, ugliest as well as the most pitiless of these self-constituted judges. This woman has brought shame upon us all and ought to die. Is there not law for it? Truly there is both in the scripture and the statute book. Then let the magistrate who have made it of no effect thank themselves of their own wives and daughters go astray. Now, this is the point of view which the second woman is repeating, and she is trying to tell that this punishment is very low punishment. The societies cannot be corrected in that way. So the correction of the society or purifying of the society depends on the physical harsh punishment or the death sentence or the penalty which the woman is thinking should have been there. Is it not similar to the penalty which with the magic woman, Mrs. Hibbins was supposed to be given, that she should be burnt alive? A similar kind of punishment is being suggested for this. So heavy hand should have been used according to her. No, imagine this is being said by a woman who is talking about the punishment of a woman. So woman is playing in the hands of man in order to become the harshest enemy of her own kind, of her own gender. So in that way, a woman is the enemy of woman being shown here very cleverly and very dexterously. But this is the condition of the law of that time, that if woman violated this law, the person would be really punished in such a way that it would set the examples, because the people wanted to keep their societies purified. So let's proceed further and see what other things we can have. Let's move on to the next passage in the section, and it is here, very small one. It's a green, highlighted passage. On the breast of her gown in fine red cloth, surrounded with an elaborate embroidery in fantastic courses of gold thread, appeared the letter A. It was so artistically done and with so much fertility and gorgeous luxuriance of fancy that it had all the effect of last and fitting decoration to the apparel which he wore, and which he of a splendor in accordance with the taste of the age, but greatly beyond what was allowed by the sanctuary of regulations of the colony. The young woman was okay. But let's first of all deal with this passage which says that the letter A, which was the abbreviation for adultery or adulteration, that letter is now so significant that it could bring a lot of shame to her, but the woman was covering it with so artistically that it appeared the part of the dress. This goes to reflect what the society expected and how the woman is taking it. The society expected that women should die with the shame and dishonor. On the other hand, the woman is taking it as a part of her life, and that she has covered it with decoration, that it has become the part and parcel of her life. And in every way, she has owned this adultery sin. She is owning it and saying that I'm responsible for that. But then there's no harm in that. That message is also being given. So modernist approach of the religious values and the dealing with the religious values also being pointed out by the writer. And with the same tone, the next paragraph is about the introduction of Hester Prynne. She says, the writer says about her, the young woman was tall with the figure of perfect elegance on large scale. She had dark and abundant hair, so glossy that it threw off the sunshine and the gleam, and a face which, besides being beautiful from regularity of features and richness of complexion, had the impressiveness belonging to a marked brow and deep black eyes. She was ladylike too, after the manner of the feminine gentility of those days, characterized by a certain state and dignity rather than by the delicate, evanescent, and indescribable grace which recognized as its indication. And never had Hester Prynne appeared more ladylike in the antique interpretation of the term than as she issued from the prison. This paragraph shows the beauty and the shine of the girl who is the victim here. By 3-4 things, the writer has tried to give us the idea of the beauty, concept of beauty of the American people of that time. For example, the writer says abundant hair, dark, glossy, abundant hair, and there is so much shine in her hair. She is having a regular feature on her face, and the complexion is very rich, and she's impressively having black eyes, so when she looked like the lady. And in that way, it goes to convey us the concept of beauty of that time, and this woman fulfilled all type of requirements of beauty of that time. So she appears beautiful, she appears graceful, she appears lovely, and this is what the writer wants to point out. Religiously speaking, it is being told to us that the sin would have more attraction as compared to the non-sin. So that is why sin is appearing more beautiful. But on the other hand, if we consider about the writer is giving the point of that she was so beautiful, and that woman is appearing to be graceful as well, and other women are standing beneath that platform. They don't look like that. She appears to be more beautiful, and she appears to be ladylike. Now, the concept of lady, as we have in Christianity, like in the novel by Muhammad Hanif, A Lady and Our Past Meridian, a blessing on the righteous colony of the Massachusetts, where iniquity is dragged out into the sunshine. Come along, Madam Hester, and show your scarlet letter in the marketplace. This paragraph shows the punishment which has been accorded to Hester Prynne. And this punishment is not simply to wear the scarlet letter, but it is also to come on the stage, be very much visible to the children and to the women, and to show them the scarlet letter she's having. Not only she should show her scarlet letter, but also she should show herself to be standing there and reminding the people that she's the one who committed the sin. So the punishment mode is being reflected here, that each day she needs to stand on the platform so that people can have a look at that. The purpose possibly is not only the humiliation of the women, but also to give the lesson to give the moral lesson to the people that if somebody does this kind of thing, the punishment can be there. So it's more a public shaming rather than a physical punishment which has been given to Hester Prynne. Let's move on and find and see more things. Like she's wearing the scarlet letter, as I have pointed out with my pen, that in the modern times the sex offender is required to wear a device so that he can be located where he's going, what he's doing. In the same way, in ancient times, the scarlet letter is going to be that type of device. The sex offending device has been given to Hester Prynne to wear that. And so we reach on this paragraph. Had there been a papist among the crowd of Puritans, he might have seen in this beautiful woman, so picturesque in her attire and mien, and with the infant at her bosom, an object to remind him of the image of divine maternity, which so illustrious painters have vied with one another to present. Something which should remind him, indeed, but only of the contrast of that sacred image of sinless motherhood, whose infant was to redeem the world. Here there was the taint of the deepest sin in the most sacred quality of human life, working such effect that the world was only the darker for this woman's beauty and the more lost for the infant that she had become. But this paragraph reverberates my opinion about the last paragraph, where I said that in one way, one woman's birth of the child may be taken as a divine maternity, and other women may not be taken. Like a sin, it may be taken. So in this way, the differences between the two religious sectors, the Puritans have this kind of view, and actually it's a kind of difference of sections of the religion being pointed out. The writer says that if there had been somebody who is a follower of Pope or is a Papist, he would have taken it in the sense of godliness, in the sense of some, as the painters have been doing and representing different images of Virgin Mary. In the same way, the papists would have taken with a little taint, or they wouldn't have considered it a sin. They would have preferred the human life which has come instead of killing. So the point of view of two sections of the society, Christian society in USA, has been pointed out. And the Puritans are probably claiming the superior status by saying that they can punish and they will remove the sin from the world as well. So in that way, the section continues, and let's have one or two more passages before we close this section. The discussion goes on with respect to religion, with respect to the people who are looking at her. For example, this green paragraph says, there she beheld another countenance of a man well stricken, years, pale, thin, scholar-like visage, with eyes dim and bleared by the lamplight that had served them to pour over many ponderous clothes. Yet those same bleared optics had a strange penetrating power when it was their owner purpose to read the human soul. This figure of the steady and the cloister, as Hester Prynne womanly fancy failed not to recall, was slightly deformed, with the left shoulder a trifle higher than the right. A public image of a holy man is being presented, that the eyes reflect the scholarship, the face, the weakness of the body. All these things are reflected, and Hester Prynne is able to recall what type of person can be there. So the public appearance of a holy man is being contrasted with the public appearance of a sinful woman in this paragraph. So we can say that one of the themes of the novel is to contrast the sin with the holiness, and to see how the things are dealt by the people who are the upholders of the religion. So going forward in the same tone, same style, and see that this section has ended. Next time I shall talk about section 3, But so far, this section 2 introduces to us not only the major character, which is the victim here, that is Hester Prynne, but also the punishment which has been given, the cause of that punishment, and alongside the contrasting situation of sin and holiness, Puritanism and Papism. All these things have been talked about in the first section. So that is the type of text which we are going to read, and this is the type of thematic analysis that I have tried to put before my readers, or possibly you have understood something out of it, and definitely your point of view might be a little bit clearer as compared to the point of view before attending this lecture. So hopefully you have enjoyed it, and if it is so, then do not fail to hit the subscribe button and the like button. You can put your points, comments, or some questions as well. I may be trying to answer them as well. So thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in some